Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. On this auspicious day, the anniversary of the disappearance of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga ki Jai. Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Prem Purushottam Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai. Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Radha Ramana Ju ki Jai. Giriraj Maharaja ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we will begin, as we always do, with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Gucha, with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Wow. It says disappearance of Govinda Das. Is that Govinda Das Kaviraj? I don't know. And then also Gauri Das Pandit.
Well, we can speak on them tomorrow too.
Yes.
It doesn't have to end today. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas.
Dandavat Pranam.
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Odarya Madhurya Gunaishta Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayan Tvam Shirasha Namami Vandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padam Jagataika Hriddim Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasar Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatya Deshakarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapreshnaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Iti Namine Ati Martya चरित्राय स्वश्रितानञ्चपालिने जीवन्मुखे सदर्ताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवर्षभारती देवी गणिकाय कृपाभये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान गणिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमभ्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदान श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनपारिणे रूपानुगम्यरूपभाव सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगपरायते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यबृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानः स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवततस्तुतः कर्षन्नेनुस्वरैर्गोप्ये गोपीनाथश्रीयस्तुनः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत निर्वापनम् श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदम् पूर्णामृतास्वादनम् सर्वात्मास्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलम् करुणस्येव नस्येव गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
Can you get me the control?
That's okay.
It's too much for me.
Gurudev, can you open video?
Yes.
Yes.
Check 1 second.
Because while you're doing that, they could find it. If you
Okay.
make it first.
I'll check first.
Shri Guru Charana Kama. Or I mean, Shri Guru Charana Padma.
Shri Guru Charana Padma.
It's page 28 in the small songbook. Also, if you don't have a songbook, if you scroll down to the bottom of the thread, you'll find that Jiva Pavana Prabhu is always adding the bhajans and kirtans that we're singing, so we can all join together. So please look for Jiva Pavana Prabhu and the lyrics, and also he adds so much sweet nectar here and there, so search like a bee for that sweet honey. Thank you so much, Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Dhanyavad pranam.
Also, there is an app, for those of you who don't know, called the Gaudiya Kirtan app. And you should also be able to find the bhajans there, if you're lucky.
But it's nice just...
It's nice, it's easier to just read along with what Jiva Pavana posts. Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe, Bole Sarvajan, page 51. Suniyachi, Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe.
Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvam Shrirupa kripayo Yugalachara Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe
Rupa Goswamipada ki jai. I'm just going to do Vishaya Vasana Rupa now. Page 48, Vishaya Vasana Rupa.
Can you spell it?
Visaya. Page 48.
You did say that, didn't you? Okay, that makes a difference.
Jiva Goswami Gare Siddhanta Swami Shri Jiva Goswami Gare Nibhai de karnano Chirto jahe jwale Nibhai de karnano Shri Chaitanya Namo Shune Bhumi Betumurama Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Amrita Pane Boi Boya Shobha Radha Krishna Amrita Pane Boi Boya Gangalero Sugangaro Durjano Dejano Mangalera Vaisnava Charanashrayo Jajena Kinjana Vaisnava Charanashrayo Jaya Rupa Goswami Prabhu Rupa Goswami Rupa Goswami Prabhu Rupa Goswami Jaya Rupa Sanatan Jaya Rupa Sanatan Jaya Rupa Sanatan Jaya Rupa Sanatan Yam Kali Rupa Sharira Nandharma. We should do that one later. We'll do it now. Page 47, YANKALIRUPA, Yam Kali Rupa. Had Srila Rupa Goswami not appeared in this age of Kali, who would have opened the doors to the great treasure house of Braja Prem? Who but Srila Rupa Goswami could have extracted the essence of the scriptures in the same way that a swan separates water from milk? Who could have abandoned everything to perform bhajan in Vrindavan? Who could have written such scriptures? He was a honeybee amid varieties of blossoming yellow forest flowers and mind-enchanting lotuses. Without that honeybee, who could have known the art of drinking the nectar, present yet confined within those flowers? Who could have understood the glories of Mathura and Vrindavan? Who could have fathomed the intricacies of Braj? Who could have understood the rati between Sri Radha and Madhava? Who could have known that love? By the mercy of his lotus feet, all souls may sing and inspire others to sing about the glories of the love of Sri Radha Madhava, thereby attaining true joy. O Sri Rupa Goswami, having surrendered at your lotus feet, may this Madhav Das be able to comprehend your unlimited glories. Page 47, Yam Kali Rupa. And if you don't have the book,
Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts it in the comment section of the thread, so just scroll down to the most recent and you can find that bhajan there and follow along. This was a favorite of our Srila Gurudev's. Whenever we would go to Terkadamba, which is just down the hill from Nandagaon, close to Ashisheshwara Mahadev, there Gurudev would have that bhajan sung, Yam Kalirupa Shariram Nadharata. He liked to comment on this particularly because within it encapsulates the essence of what Srila Rupa Goswami gave to this world. And all of our acharyas after him.
Goswami Prabhu ki jai. जय अनिलो प्रेम धन करुणा प्रचुर.
Page 99 in the small book starts Jeanil.
But
we do that one later. So Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koromore. We can do it after.
Like after, in the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still on.
It's on.
Okay. Sometimes the power fluctuations are so intense they cut off the battery as well.
So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Daya Koromore.
Morning. Page 96.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koromore Toma
Vaishnavero Kripa Mage Deyadhamo Daso
Vaishnavera Kripa Mage Deyadhamo Daso
Goya Guru Deva Patito Aro Goya Sri Chalane Seva Mage He Patito Jano Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. And you will read it? Rupa Goswami.
It's page 343.
Three, 4, 3. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
3, 4, 2, 1.
241.
Just one back.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Das Pandit ki jai, Jai Prabha Mahamahotsav ki jai, Shri Govinda Das ki jai, Jai Prabha Mahamahotsav ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Ram. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namam Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nityanamine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Adadanam Trinandantay Idam Yache Kunapana Srimad Rupa Padambojo Dhuli Shyam Janma Janmani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate giring yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Prabhishna Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Prabhishna Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And also especially on this day, offering thousands of Dandavat Pranams in the dust of the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, and to Shri Gauridas Pandit and Shri Govinda Das. And also I offer my Dandavat Pranam to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today. My Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas.
So today is no ordinary day. Today is the anniversary of the disappearance of that personality who is the object of all of our prayers, of all of our sadhan, of all of our bhajan, of all of our puja, of our japa, of our mantras, of all of our vrats, all of our austerities. Everything that we do on the path of bhakti is really to obtain a particle of dust from the feet of this great personality, Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu. And that is told by Sri Narottam Das Thakur in the bhajan, which we have not yet sung, but we will sing, hopefully, at the end of this, not a discourse, endeavor for remembrance and glorification, Pushpanjali. Actually, the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu are unlimited. Who can count the glories of such a person? Even Kavi Karnapur, who composed that beautiful prayer, Priya Swarupe Daita Swarupe. He composed that prayer and he was feeling completely inadequate. That how can I glorify such a personality whose glories are unlimited? Srila Rupa Goswami, in this world we see him in sadhak form. But in the transcendental realm, we understand that Srila Rupa Goswami is the most near and dear, intimate maidservant of Srimati Radhika, that is Sri Rupa Manjari. So how can we estimate the depth of the glories of such a person? Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, whenever he would endeavor to glorify any great personality within Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he would always condemn himself at
having the audacity to even endeavor to do such a thing. How do you glorify someone whose glories are unlimited and beyond the ability for any person of this world to actually truly glorify? And yet for our own benefit, what we have heard from Guru and Vaishnavas and Shastra, what we have received through parampara, that we should repeat for our own benefit. Because to remember the Vaishnavas on their days, the days of their appearance and disappearance, what to speak of that at every moment, this is very, very beneficial. It removes all anarthas and brings all auspiciousness to remember Guru, Vaishnava and Bhagavan. So on this day, the day of the disappearance of Srila Rupa Goswamipada, the day of the disappearance of Sri Gauridas Pandit, and the day of the disappearance of Govinda Das, we will endeavor to remember the glories of these Vaishnavas, especially on this day. Particularly, we're going to focus on Srila Rupa Goswamipada. Srila Rupa Goswami, when he was younger, he was seen as the brother of Sanatan Goswami, and they had another brother named Anupam, whose son is Jiva Goswami. But Srila Gurudev explained that for any Vaishnava, we should not really speak about them in terms of their material relationships of this world, but in terms of their relationship with their Gurudev. So Rupa Goswami saw Sanatan Goswamipada as his Guru in this world, in Sadhak group. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the Guru of Rupa Goswami. He is glorified as that person who established the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Nyena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Yam Dadati Swapadantikam. I'm offering my obeisance into the dust of the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, who has established the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. How near and dear is he to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he can accomplish such a task? That Srila Gurudev and our Guru Varga have explained that no one else did or could do to establish his inner heart's desire in this world. That is his function. Therefore it is said, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. Manobhishta means the inner heart's desire, or the desire of the mind. Mano abhishta. But it really means the desire of the heart, that thing which is the deepest, the most intimate, the most dear. Rupa Goswami had access to that part of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And stapita means to establish. Where? Yena Bhutale, in this world. So all of our Guru Varga, coming in the line of Rupa Goswami, they're aspiring to be known as Rupanuga. Means followers in the line of Rupa Goswami. These days, some persons who are bereft of proper knowledge, they try to make a new line. But they don't understand that there's a speciality in this term, Rupanuga. Means those who are always seeking the mercy of Sri Rupa, who is that person who established in this world the inner heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga, coming in the line of Rupa Goswami, they have this aspiration, and therefore they are known in Sadhak group in the form as devotees who are practicing in this world. Rupa Anuga means following under the guidance, in the Anugatya of Srila Rupa Goswami. So as he is doing in his Sadhak group, in his devotee form, they're following that sadhana. And as he is doing in his Siddha form, means in Radha Krishna Lila, in the form of Sri Rupa Manjari, the maidservant, the most intimate, most dear, Param Priyatam, the dearmost maidservant of Srimati Radhika, that kind of service that she is rendering to Srimati Radhika and Krishna, they're all taking the remnants of that seva. This is our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga. Srila Gurudev was quite emphatic on this point. Again and again and again, he endeavored to impress this within our hearts. So before continuing along this line, I want to give a little bit of history. So Rup and Sanatan, when they were young, they were known as Amar and Santosh, and they came from a very high-class Bharadvaj Brahmin family. But because of their brilliance and their simplicity and their honesty, they were sought after. Everyone knew of them and knew of their natures. So much so that the Muslim ruler at that time, Hussein Shah, became also attracted, hearing about their nature and qualities. And because they were so simple and straightforward and honest, and so brilliant and so intelligent, this Amar, who later became known as Rupa Goswami, and Santosh, who later became known as Sanatan Goswami, were taken into governmental care and were put in very high positions within that government. What were those high positions? Sanatan Goswami was given the position of Prime Minister, and Rupa Goswami was given the position of Private Secretary to the king. This is like, these are the most respected, most close positions. How trusted they were. So he was completely dependent upon them for so many decisions, and they were serving in this government. It seems quite interesting because at that time, the rulers were not favorable toward the path of bhakti. But sometimes we see it like this, that when there's a very powerful and brutal, ruthless ruler, then even great devotees must serve in their government. As we have seen with Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, he was so powerful that he captured all of the demigods and enslaved them and was very harsh toward them. And even great personalities, Narada Muni himself, he said, like myself and Angira Rishi, we also were made to offer prayers to Hiranyakashipu, the most evil man in all creation, in the whole universe that they have ever seen. They had to offer prayers to him. So this Amar and Santosh, this Amar became Rup, Santosh became Sanatan. They were working for this Nawab Hussein Shah. And they were doing their job, their service very diligently. And so they were needed in those positions. Always for guidance, for any kind of help with any decision, any idea. So our Gurudev said they were absolutely necessary for this king. Because they had natural devotion within them. They had heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came nearby. Oh, I forgot to tell you. One thing, important thing. The Muslim ruler gave them names. Sanatan Goswami became known as Sakar Malik, and Rupa Goswami became known as Dabir Khash. So they actually had these names, and they were working in the Muslim government at that time. So after some time, they had heard from so many different sources that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be coming through that area. Not too far from there was a village known as Ramakeli. And so they made arrangements to go and see him. Taking off their very royal and expensive robes, what they would wear in government positions, they took very, very simple cloth. And they went to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramakeli. Going there, they fell at Mahaprabhu's feet. And they were feeling so lowly about themselves, especially in those times. These days, they don't have these kind of ideas. But in those times, people had very, very strict ideas of dharma. So at that time, because the Brahmins didn't eat meat, they didn't take any intoxication or do anything which was adharmic, at that time. Nowadays, it doesn't matter so much. People do whatever they want, and there's no repercussion for it. But in those days, people were very strict. In those days, if a Muslim shadow even touched a Brahmin, it was considered they would lose their caste and they would have to do all kinds of purificatory ceremonies. What to speak of that, even throwing water on them or anything. So a Brahmin would lose their caste so easily. So this Rupa and Sanatan, at that time, Dabir Kash and Sakar Malik, were feeling so lowly about themselves. So they offered pranam and expressed their hearts that I am so low, I am so fallen, and my association are all those who are against bhakti, those persons who are eating meat and doing all kinds of simple activities. But still they were begging for the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who accepted them and gave his mercy to them. So after that time, they became known as Rupa and Sanatan. Of course, recently we spoke about Sri Sanatan Goswamipada, but now we're focusing on Rupa Goswami. So after some time, Rupa Goswami was able to escape his duties. He fled very far away, and he had some money with him. So it is said that with his money, which he had a lot of, because he was working in such a high position in government, of course the Nawab did not want either of them to leave. He was very upset that Rupa left, but Rupa went very far. And half of his earnings he used in Vaisnava Seva. 1/4 he used for taking care of any maintenance, and the other 1/4 was for emergencies. So our Srila Prabhupada, he said that it should be like this. Half of our income should be used directly in the service of the Lord and the devotees of the Lord. 1/4 should be utilized for our maintenance, and 1/4 should be saved for emergencies. He said this was an example shown by Srila Rupa Goswami. What was the emergency? Sanatan Goswami also wanted to leave, but the Nawab did not want Sanatan to leave. He was very upset because he wanted to go and attack Orissa. So he needed his prime minister to look after the government at that time. But Sanatan's greed to leave was so great to go again to visit Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he didn't want to be there. The Nawab was realizing, first he was hearing that Sanatan was doing so many things, but then he was hearing from other sources that he was associating with bhaktas and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So he put Sanatan in prison. Rupa Goswami sent messages to Sanatan Goswami and also bribed the guards to let Sanatan go. So Sanatan was able to escape by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, and they were able to go again to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So from that time, then we know that they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag. Prayag is where the Trisangam of Ganga, Jamuna and Saraswati, where these 3 rivers meet. Now they call it Prayagraj, where Mahakumbha Mela takes place. So Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that place. And there at Ashvamedha Ghat, where there were 10 horse sacrifices, there Rupa Goswami submitted himself again at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave so many very powerful and important, beautiful instructions to him. These are known for us as Rupa Shiksha, the instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami. And what is that? Rupa Goswami was receiving all of the transcendental knowledge about how to perfect oneself in the path of bhajan. Erupe Brahmand Brahmite Kon Bhagya Manajeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling him at that time that jiva, that soul who is extremely fortunate, by the mercy of Krishna, will receive Guru Krishna in their life, which is actually such a rare occurrence to achieve the association of a real transcendental Guru. And by the mercy of Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Now some understand that Guru gives the seed of bhakti, but what is that seed? It's not a physical seed. It's not like a mustard seed or an apple or an orange seed. It's not like that. It's not a pumpkin seed or anything like that. Bhakti Lata Bij is sadhu sangha. the association of pure devotees, which has its result as the expression of the desire to serve and please Krishna. So by sadhu sangha, one's desire to serve and please Krishna is awakened. If you see all of the commentaries of all of our acharyas who are speaking about this definition of bhakti lata bij, it's not like there's some seed that's given. It's their own association. This is known as bhakti lata bij. And then how is this seed nourished? Mahaprabhu tells him, Shravana Kirtana Jale Koriye Sechan. By hearing Harikatha, by hearing about Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, and also Kirtan, by repeating that, by chanting the names of Krishna, by glorifying his pastimes and his qualities and his forms. Shravana Kirtana Jale. This is the water by which this creeper, means the Bhakti Lata, our bhakti will grow. And Mahaprabhu told him, he warned how to be careful. We should give it all nutrients, but we should be careful to remove the weeds which are holding us back. What are those weeds? All kinds of anarthas, things which are unfavorable toward the attainment of our goal. Anartha, anartha. This means what is unfavorable for the attainment of my goal. What is my goal? Krishna Prem, Braja Prem. Aparads, all kinds of illusion, Swarup Brahm. Weakness of heart, all kinds of things which are blocking me or stunting me. These are weeds, and sometimes the weeds look just like the original creeper. If anyone knows anything about planting a garden, sometimes a weed is growing just along the thing which looks like what you have planted. And then it's hard to differentiate. So one must have some intelligence to be able to understand and differentiate and discriminate for their own good. And then Mahaprabhu said also a boundary needs to be made. Some protection. If you have a beautiful garden and there are any mad elephants wandering in the area, if those elephants come anywhere near your garden, they can smash everything without even thinking. They'll trample over your garden and destroy your creeper. What is that creeper? My inclination, my bhakti. And what is that? Hati mata, the mad elephant offense of Vaisnava aparad. It means to have a mood against affection to a Vaisnava, to a Vaisnava. Any mood which is malicious, which is blaspheming, which is going against or trying to hurt, sadhu ninda, trying to destroy or kill, or like this, any sadhu, any Vaishnava. Krishna takes it very personally, like an arrow to his own heart. And one's bhakti will be stunted from that point. Until again, they receive Krishna's mercy from another pure transcendental Vaishnava, or that same Vaishnava in the form of Harikatha. It is not so easy to get rid of that. It is said that that kind of offense directly affects the Atma, which is quite amazing because there shouldn't be anything that can directly affect the Atma, asango yang purushaha. The soul has no connection with this material world, but somehow, because Krishna takes it personally, then it directly affects the progress of the soul. One time I ran to Srila Gurudev and I asked him, I said, the nature of all souls is that they're eternal servants of Krishna, right? And he said, yes. And I said, and this can never change, right? And he said, right. And I said, so what happens if someone made so much Vaishnava aparad, but now they're coming back to the path of bhakti and to the association of devotees? Can they progress? He said, yes. And then he pinched his fingers together very tight. And he said, but their progress will be very slow. And that was quite, you can say, eye-opening or shocking, because he was showing how it becomes stunted. There are chemicals which you can spray on any grass. When I lived in Fiji years ago, they were using chemicals in the farms. And those chemicals would stunt the growth of any tree or creeper. It might still grow, but really slowly. Whereas before, it would grow very fast. They actually had a plant called mile a minute, which literally would grow out of hand so fast. So they would spray these crops with this chemical, and it would stunt them or even kill them. Or they would make a ring around a tree and paint it with this chemical, and gradually, slowly, this tree would lose all of its leaves and then die and then fall over. So this also can happen. When a mad elephant rushes through your garden of bhakti, then that bhakti creeper can become uprooted. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warned. And he gave so many beautiful instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami, which Rupa Goswami subsequently gave to the world. Later on, when Srila Rupa Goswami was there in Puri, at that time, because Rupa Goswami was known as a very expert poet and a prolific writer, and Mahaprabhu trusted whatever he wrote. Mahaprabhu wanted to know, what did you write? Today I read that Rupa Goswami had written on palm leaves with ink, and back in the day, they needed to dry that ink. So he kept it on the roof, the grass roof of the thatched hut, and then went to take his bath. At that time, Rupa Goswami was residing in a very simple way, where we now know as the Siddha Bakul place, the place of Haridas Thakur's Samadhi, that Siddha Bakul tree. So Rupa Goswami was also residing in that place. He went to take bath, and Mahaprabhu came back. And Mahaprabhu noticed that there was something drying, so he wanted to see. So at that time, Rupa Goswami came back, and Mahaprabhu said, "What have you been writing?" And Rupa Goswami was very shy, very, very shy, and Mahaprabhu wanted to know, but he was feeling very unqualified. Mahaprabhu was pressing, and then the devotees started pressing. "Oh, you should tell, you should tell." So what did Rupa Goswami state? Anarpita charinchirat kurunayavatirna kalo samarpanitum manato jvalarasangsa bhakti shriyam hari purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita sada hridaya kandare spuratu vashachi nandanan. Vashachi nandana. I don't normally sing it, I normally just tell it. So at that time, Mahaprabhu, when he was asked, "What do you think?" he was like, "Oh, the first 3 lines were great, but the last line was like poison added into the mix." Right? You can have a pot of nectar, but you put some poison in there, then the whole thing is spoiled. So Mahaprabhu didn't like to hear his own glorification. Why? Because he is, although he is Krishna, he is endeavoring to experience the mood of a bhakta, a devotee. Which devotee? The bhava of Srimati Radhika. Radha bhava dyuti subalitam nomi Krishna swarupam. Although he is Krishna himself, he is experiencing and tasting something of Radha bhav and manifesting her complexion as a natural effect of that mood. So when he heard this, the devotee never likes to hear their own glorification. I was just speaking with Vrindavan Vilasini Didi last night. And in Venu Geet, when Krishna and Balaram are entering into the forest in the morning, there Krishna is glorifying Baladev Prabhu. Look at how all the trees are blossoming, all the flowers are blooming, how everything is so beautiful. This is because of your presence. And Srila Gurudev explains there in the commentary, why is Krishna telling this to Baladev Prabhu? Because it is thoroughly inappropriate to glorify oneself. So even Krishna, who is Vishai Bhagavan, the supreme enjoyer of everything, is still following this etiquette. He's glorifying himself, but in the form of Baladev Prabhu, not directly. So Gurudev said, because it is thoroughly inappropriate to glorify oneself. So no devotee likes to hear their own glories. Devotee always feels himself the lowest of the low. I am the most wretched. I am the most fallen. I have no bhakti, like Rupa Goswami says. Bhakti rudanchati yadyapi madhava natvai mamatila matri. I don't even have as much as a sesame seed of bhakti. Not even that much. But, O my Lord, the Supreme Lord, Parameshvarata, by your greatness, by your supreme majesty, you can make the impossible possible. We've already discussed what is the meaning of that. Agatagatana Shakti, the power to make the impossible possible, or as told in this bhajan, Durghata Ghatana Midhatri. So please, make the impossible possible. Although I have no bhakti for you, still allow my mind, which is like a bumblebee, to always go to your lotus feet, which are like reddish lotus flowers, so that I can drink the nectar there. Charana Amrit, the nectar of your lotus feet. So Rupa Goswami is praying for this thing which he feels is impossible, but because the Lord has the power to make the impossible possible, Rupa Goswami is praying like this, with such deep humility. So Mahaprabhu didn't like to hear his own name there, Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandana. That may this Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be fully situated within the deepest inner recesses, the core of your heart. May he reside within those caves. Hridaya Kandare means the cave of your heart. Spuratu means manifest. Sachinandana. So when Mahaprabhu heard his own name, he was like, I don't want to hear this. But however, Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami and others, they were like, no, this is the best part of this shlok. Because of this verse is perfect. And at that time, Mahaprabhu then requested all of the Vaishnavas, including Rai Ramananda, Swarup Damodar, all of his associates, that they should bless this Rupa. They should all give their blessings to him. And then Mahaprabhu instructed him that he is the recipient of his mercy, that he should come to Vrindavan, and that he should produce, or there was two main instructions. One, rediscover the holy places, and also to produce transcendental literature. So by the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, who everyone recognized, Rupa Goswami was given that blessing by Mahaprabhu to manifest transcendental literature. Of course, we know that Rupa Goswami, as Rupa Manjari, has all qualification and all capacity to do such a thing. But within Sadhak group, within his Bhakta form, in Gaur Lila, then we see that from the perspective of Bhaktas, yes, he was given this special blessing. And all Vaishnavas recognized that blessing. And therefore they accepted what Rupa Goswami presented as transcendental truth. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, he explained that if anyone produces any transcendental literature, it can only be acceptable if many Mahabhagavats confirm it. If it's just some neophytes or any, we all like, oh yeah, that's transcendental. That's not the qualification for accepting something as transcendental. But when many Mahabhagavats confirm that literature, then we accept that. We don't see that so many of our Guru Varga, especially not recently, have composed their own literature. Maybe some prayers. But in terms of their own literature. Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he made Jaiva Dharma. This is based on all Shastra and everything. Rupa Goswami was actually manifesting the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Kavi Karnapur, Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami manifested Brihad Bhagavatamrita. These were especially empowered personalities. But we see that our Gurudev, what did he do? He made commentaries. After presenting the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and so many others, then he would make some commentary on the original work. But he wasn't jumping ahead saying, I'm going to create some new thing. Our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada also did not create any new literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is not his creation or invention. He is making commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, he himself established that the commentaries are directly manifesting by the mercy of the Lord himself, that Krishna is directly speaking and I am writing. So you can say, yes, this is fresh. But he's still giving the foundation of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Bhagavad Gita, of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, of nectar of instruction, of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He wasn't producing new literatures. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all Vaishnavas bless Rupa Goswami to do such a thing. Why? It was necessary to establish Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire in this world. Why is that? Based on this verse, Anarpita Charing Chirat, Rupa Goswami is saying that what has not been given before, in a very, very long time, since the last day of Brahma, means a day and night, 8,640,000,000 years before, which seems like forever. What is he giving?
That is forever.
It is forever for us. I just read recently that if every second if you wanted to count to 1 billion, and it took you 1 second for each number, actually it will take longer when you're saying 999,999,999, that takes more than 1 second, right? So just to count to 1 billion, it'll take something like 135 years. 8,640,000,000 years. How long is that? It's practically unimaginable. So for us, that's millions and millions of lifetimes, especially when we talk about bacterial lifetimes. Hare Krishna. So Rupa Goswami is glorifying Mahaprabhu, that what has not been given before by any other avatar previously, since that time, which is like time without beginning from our perspective. What is he coming to taste? Anarpita charinchirat karuna avatirna kalo. Karuna avatirna. This most merciful avatar who manifests in the age of Kali. What is he coming to do? Samapayitum unatojvala rasam. He's come to taste this highest, most brilliant, unata ujvala. Unata means without limit. Ujvala means brilliant, or the highest, most bright, most effulgent. Rasa. What is that? The rasa, this is his own purpose. Shri Radhaya pranaya mahima kidrishavana eva ashvadyo yena adbhuta madhurima kidrishavamadiya sokyam chasam anubhavata kidrisham veti lobhat. This is unata ujvala rasa, tasting the moods, the bhavs of Srimati Radhika's love and affection for Krishna. That is his own purpose. And also he wanted to do something else. As he's tasting this prem ras, Mahaprabhu's there, one arm up, prem ras niryash korite ashvadan. Raga marga bhakti loke korite pracharan. He also wanted to preach in the world Raga Marga Bhakti. It means that all jivas should have this opportunity to awaken this mood of spontaneous love and affection like the Brajabasis have for Krishna. Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. Except our Srila Gurudev mentioned something, that Mahaprabhu was so absorbed in tasting this Unata Ujvala Rasa, which is only the property of Srimati Radhika. No one else can taste this. It's not something for everyone to experience. Otherwise, what would be her speciality? If we all could experience exactly the same bhav as Srimati Radhika, then what would be special about her? Right? Well, now, why is Krishna endeavoring to taste her mood, her bhav? Because her love is the supreme. Mahabhav Surupini Sri Radha Thakurani. She is the embodiment of the highest form of transcendental love and affection for Krishna. That is why Krishna becomes greedy to taste it, because he sees that who is loving me like this is experiencing millions of times more transcendental pleasure and happiness than I myself am experiencing by receiving that love. I want to taste what she's tasting. So Unata Ujvala Rasam. This is what he is tasting. That is Radha's bhav. But he wants to give something of that to this world. What is that? Sva Bhakti Shriyam. Shriyam means beauty. And Sva Bhakti means her own moods of love and affection. So the beauty of these moods of love and affection. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Rupa Goswami, and he told him, the ocean, the Bhakti Ras is an infinite ocean, and I will give you one drop of this. And then Rupa Goswami gave one drop of that to this world. Gurudev explains. So what is this? Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam. It means the beauty, the Shriyam, of this highest mood. And what is that beauty? Rup.
Priyaswarupe Daitaswarupe. The manifestation of that is embodied in the form of Sri Rupa Manjari, the maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So Srila Gurudev explained again and again and again and again and again that who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna coming to taste the bhava of Srimati Radhika. Not of Subal, Sridam, Yashoda, Nanda, or any other servants, Raktak, Patrak, or the cows, or anything else. Not even of any other gopi, but of Srimati Radhika. And therefore, he wants to give some sprinkle of what he's tasting. This nectar is the most amazing thing. Oh my God, you should taste this. Something of it. Even like, it's like an ocean. So maybe the vapor which is coming off this ocean, you should have something of this experience. After I'm drinking this rasmalai from this bowl, and then the bowl, what is left in the bowl, maybe some drop is there. But anyone with real greed will run to that bowl and drink, lick that bowl until every drop is finished. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to taste this Radha Bhav, and because he was so absorbed in tasting this Radha Bhav, he could not do what he wanted to do fully. So he had all of the devotees bless Sri Rupa, that may you establish my inner heart's desire of Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan in this world. That is why you see Korite Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. In this world, this spontaneous mood of love and affection for Krishna. Spontaneous. And what did Rupa Goswami do? Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. In this world, establish the inner heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Means he wanted to awaken this mood in those who have that capacity to love Krishna, like the Brajabasis in Vrindavan, completely spontaneous without any mood of fear, awe, and reverence. We've been discussing this point quite often in going Beyond Vaikuntha. So, this is what Rupa Goswami came to establish. And therefore, all of those who are coming in the line of Rupa Goswami, although his teachings have affected everyone, even the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanandis and others, Nimbaditya followers of Nimbarka, Gurudev explained that there was a time when they would not accept the worship of Radha and Krishna together, thinking that this is adharmic. And what kind of effect would it have on the world if you're worshipping Radha and Krishna together? She's married to someone else. Oh my God. And she's going with Krishna? Oh my God. It would set a bad example, so they actually were denying the worship of Radha Govinda. They tried to remove Radhika from Govinda. And by Rupa Goswami's works, what he presented, what he gave to this world, from him everyone, all of our Vaishnava Acharyas are able to give something by his grace. So what he gave, he established irrefutably that Radha and Krishna must be worshipped together. And so even in other sampradayas, they had to bow their heads and accept what Rupa Goswami gave. Of course, we know that Rupa Goswami could not tolerate such a thing. How could Sri Rupa Manjari, tolerate that Radha and Krishna are eternally separated? This is not the mood of any of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. Their mood is how to see them happy together. And so they help to increase that transcendental meeting. Jai Jai Radha Krishna Jugala Milan. That, oh, may they always happily meet together. So this verse, Srila Gurudev would quote very often when he was glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but this is the verse of Rupa Goswami. And Gurudev said, why did Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, use this verse as one of his main shlokas, one of the main verses? He was able to write hundreds of verses in a moment. He was so brilliant. Why did he use this verse? He said because Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami was feeling himself so humble, and he was seeing that Sri Rupa is actually an eternal associate of the Lord. Nitya Parikar, Sri Rupa Manjari. And that he wanted to receive the mercy of Sri Rupa.
So Gurudev in this connection explained that if we are not qualified, then how can we compose transcendental literature? It will be full of faults. He said, so we take shelter of the bhajans of those persons, of the kirtan and the writings of those persons who are perfect, transcendental, and pure, with no material inebrities. We take shelter of their kirtan, of their bhajan. Therefore, we're singing the bhajans of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. We're singing the bhajans of Rupa Goswami, of Narottam Das Thakur, of Lochan Das Thakur. There's so many, Radha Mohan Das. We're singing so many different bhajans of these personalities, praying that for even a particle of their mood to manifest within our hearts. So Srila Gurudev explained it like this, that then we can have hope. But otherwise we shouldn't just take the poetry, even spiritual poetry, of someone whose heart is still full of all anarthas. What real benefit will we get? As we were talking yesterday about that verse, Vikrididam Rajabadu Viridam Cha Vishnum. If you're hearing Rasa Lila Katha from the right source, this will be the cure for the disease of lust in the heart. Hridrogam Ashvapahinotya Chirena Dhira. If you hear it from that person who's completely free from lust, who is completely attached 100% to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, for whom there is no material inebriety whatsoever. This is a definition of someone who is beyond the stage of ruchi or taste, in a state of asakti or attachment, deep loving attachment. In this connection, Srila Gurudev said, like a constant steady stream without breaking, or like when you dip any piece of cloth in dye, every part of that cloth becomes colored. This is anurag, deep loving attachment. He said, for such a person, there's no chance of fall down. There's no meaning to that. They're completely absorbed 100%. So, if we hear from that source, then this is the cure for the disease of lust in the heart. And if we hear from the source about Rasa Lila Katha, whose heart is still full of lust and all kinds of material desires, desire for name, fame, kanaka, kamani, pratishta, all kinds of anarthas, then the desires in our heart, material desires, can also be inflamed. Means it will increase. Lust will not leave. If you're listening to any song which is being sung by someone who has that kind of mood, it might be that lust increases in the heart. So we should try to associate with and hear from transcendental sources as often as possible. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he composed this beautiful verse, which actually is stating that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give something very specific, to awaken something specific. Why? He's tasting this bhav. And he feels that she is my guru. Radhika Premier Guru Ami Shishyanata. She is my guru of prem and I am simply her dancing pupil. And he wants to repay her for her love and affection. Right? He says, I cannot repay you even in millions of lives of Brahma. I cannot repay you for your love and affection. So how to repay her? To engage so many in her service. So through the medium of Rupa Goswami, those who are coming in this line, Rupa Anuga, our Gurudev explained again and again that what Rupa Goswami came to give and what Mahaprabhu wanted to awaken, although it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he wanted to give Chari Bhav, the 4 different moods of Sakya, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, still specifically, you can read it in Pinnacle of Devotion, chapter 6 and 7, I think. What he really wanted to give was some semblance of what he himself was experiencing. And so he gave this through Srila Rupa Goswami. Our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he states that we are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, that this is our goal, our hope, our aspiration. And we've also heard this Pujala Raga Pratak Gaurava Bhangi, that we are followers in the dust of the lotus feet of those who are Raganuga. But Rag is so many different kinds of things. There's Ragatmikam Bhakti in Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras, even in Vaikuntha and in other places, because it's the spontaneous nature of affection. But there's different kinds of Rag. What is the Rag of someone who is a follower of Rupa Goswami?
In Sadak Bhav in this world, they are known as Rupanuga. And that's within the greater category of Raganuga. But Rupanuga is a special section within Raganuga, specifically following the mood and the upasan, the mode of worship, the method of worship that Rupa Goswami himself followed and prescribed. And in Siddhabhav, Gurudev explained that once one has attained perfection, it will not be called Anuga. It's not like that. But still there's a system of hierarchy. One time, I'm going to share something interesting with you. We were in Singapore with our Gurudev, and it was myself, and I think it was Mohan, could have been Lalit Mohan. And we were massaging Srila Gurudev, and Gurudev sat up from this massage, and he said, you know, there, it's not like here. He said, here we have a very fixed hierarchical system. Guru-disciple, it's very fixed. So the disciple is always in that subservient position to the Guru. He said it's not appropriate for the disciple to take this role or mood, oh, this is my baby, and speak like that to their Gurudev. There must always be maryada, proper etiquette in relationship to one's Gurudev. One must always feel themselves as a fool in front of their Guru. This is the nature of the maryada of this world. So he said it's very fixed, the fixed hierarchy here. He said, but in that realm, what is supreme? Seva. He said, so sometimes, although there's a loose hierarchy, it's there. Sri Rupa is in charge. He said this. I'm just sharing with you because it's the day of Sri Rupa. He said, Sri Rupa is in charge. But it depends on the necessity for seva. Sometimes Rupa will tell Rati, you do this. Or sometimes Rati may tell Rupa, you should do this. Because they're all in the form of friends. So it depends on the necessity for service to Radha and Krishna. Gurudev spontaneously told us this from this massage, so I thought I would share it with you. It was quite interesting. So Rupa Goswami, he glorifies Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in such a way that may this Mahaprabhu be situated within the inner core of your heart. Now we know Rupa Goswami came back to Vrindavan. And here he was also uncovering so many holy places and manifesting so many transcendental literatures. Amongst these literatures, we know of Lalit Madhava, Vidagdha Madhava, Hansaduta, especially Bhakti Rasamrita, Sindhu. No. Ujjvala Nilmani, so many beautiful transcendental literatures. And they're full of all kinds of rasa and all the moods of how to progress in bhakti. What kind of bhakti? That bhakti which will awaken one's eternal, serving, loving nature to Krishna in Vrindavan. One thing I forgot, when Rupa Goswami was going toward Puri, at that time he had a vision of Satyabhama. And Satyabhama came to him and told him that when you write, you shouldn't write our Leelas, means the Dwarka Leela and Vrindavan Leela, together. You should do it in two separate scriptures. And then when Rupa Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu confirmed this thing. Why? He said that the son of Vasudeva Maharaj, Krishna in Mathura, this is known as Vasudeva, is not the same as Krishna, the son of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan. This is told in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that they are different Krishnas. One is the manifestation of the other. But the original Krishna, Advai Gyan Tattva Braje Brajendra Nandan, this Krishna, Vrindavana Parityaja Padam Ekam Nagachati, never sets one foot outside of Vrindavan. So the original Krishna is Braj Krishna, and from him, unlimited manifestations are taking place, including Vasudeva Krishna. So when Vasudeva Maharaj was carrying that Krishna from Mathura to Vrindavan, there was a switch that took place. He was instructed by Krishna, who appeared in the jail cell with 4 arms,
full Vaijanti Mala, helmet, club, conch shell, disc, lotus flower, and pitambar, his yellow cloth. He said, they asked him, please become a baby. So he said, okay, but you immediately take me to the home of Yashoda and Nanda in Gokul and exchange me with their baby girl. So at that time, then he manifested as a baby. Vasudeva Maharaj immediately followed his instructions. The jail cell, all the doors open. Vasudeva Maharaj brought him with great difficulty across the Jamuna in the middle of a massive storm, brought him to the house of Nanda Baba, and Yashoda only saw a baby girl there and placed Krishna down because he wasn't told that there was another, that Yashoda had given birth to twins. She gave birth to the original Krishna. This is told in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada himself is writing this in the purports. You can look in the section there. Our Gurudeva is telling, Vishwanath Chakravarti is telling, Mahaprabhu is stating this. All of our Guru Varga have established this point. So it is there, and it is also on the evidence of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the spotless evidence. Even when, what's her name? Durga Devi. When Kamsa tried to smash that baby to the floor, when they brought her back, she flew out of his hand, took this massive form of Durga, and as she was flying up into the air, she kicked Kamsa in the head and she called him a fool. She said directly to him, that you do not know that he has already been born somewhere else. So this is one of the evidences, and also that she was called the younger sister of Krishna. So there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and on the authority of Harivangsha, they're stating, if she's called the younger sister of Krishna, then at that time when Yashoda had a child, there must have been two twins. So Vasudeva Maharaj brought his Krishna to Vrindavan, to Vrindavan, and without realizing or seeing, he took that little girl and his Mathura Krishna merged into the original form of Krishna, Braj Krishna. When the original form manifests, all other forms manifest within him. This is also told in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in this bhajan we sang before, Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, Tan Braja Prema Mahanidhi Kutalika, Kona Kapata Ugharata. I'm going to find it. What page is that? If Rupa Goswami had not appeared in this age of Kali, who would have opened the doors to the great treasure house of Braja Prem? Without Rupa Goswami, who would know about this? Who would know about the love of Radha and Madhava? Our Gurudev explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very deep conversation with Sanatan Goswami, but it wasn't about the moods of the Brajavasis' love and affection for Krishna. Even with Swarup Damodar Goswami, still there was something. With Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, no as well. With Raya Ramananda, he came to a certain point and then Mahaprabhu covered his mouth and said no more. But with Rupa Goswami, he gave all of the Vaishnavas and his own blessing fully on Rupa that you should present this process to the world. How to awaken Braja Prem. This is what Mahaprabhu gave through the medium of Rupa Goswami, with no holds barred. There was nothing that Rupa Goswami did not have access to. Our Gurudev explained that Rupa Goswami is so powerful, because he was able to give what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give, what was deepest feeling within his heart. He said, like the flute of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, Bangshi is so powerful. Even what Krishna himself cannot do. He could not go into the houses of the gopis, but his flute song, which was carrying all of his bhavs, his moods, his attraction for their hearts, for their love and affection, that was able to go into their houses, go through the doorway of their ears, into their heart, steal their hearts, and then run back to him in the middle of the night in the forest in Bangshivat. And their greatest treasure had just been stolen. What Krishna himself could not do, through his flute song, he was able to do. It stole their hearts, and their hearts were being taken deep into the forest.
When your greatest treasure is stolen, you stop everything that you're doing, no matter what you're doing, and you run to capture that treasure. So immediately they were running, chasing their hearts. Our hearts have been stolen, running toward Krishna. By the millions, they all arrived in front of Krishna. From every direction, their hearts had been stolen. The Gurudev said, so the flute, Vamsi, is so powerful. So how powerful is Sri Rupa? Like the flute of Mahaprabhu. Even what Mahaprabhu himself couldn't do, through the medium of Rupa Goswami, he was able to accomplish. And then he said, Rupa is like the pen of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What Mahaprabhu wanted to give to this world, we know that he spoke 8 main shlokas. Of course, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many instructions are there. To Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Raya Ramananda, so many different shikshas are there. But still, we know of these main 8 shlokas known as Sri Shikshashtakam. Cheto Darpanam Ajanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shrekaira Vachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Vidivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, and ending in Ashlishyava Padadatam Pinashtimam Adarshanan Marmahatam Karotuva Yatatatava Vidhatulam Pato Mat Prananatas Tusa Evanaparaha. 8 shlokas. This is not the only thing Mahaprabhu gave. I'm just clarifying that this is what they have attributed to him specifically, these 8 shlokas. But he gave so many instructions, so many teachings, which were revealed by all of his associates. So we have received those in the form of Chaitanya Bhagavat and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, among other transcendental literatures. So what he wanted to give, he gave through Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaja explained that Rupa Goswami was so dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, you might have so many different friends. Some friends, they come to your home, and still there's formality. They can't just do whatever they want. They come, you greet them in a more formal way. Oh, welcome, come to my home, here's some water, here, have a seat. And you sit and you talk. And then he said there are those dearest friends. Those friends who are so close, they can do anything they want. And not only will you not feel upset or perturbed, but you will feel even more happy. Oh, they're so close to me that there's no separation between us. They can lie in your bed, they can take a nap, they can take anything from your kitchen or your cupboard, and you will feel even more happy. Oh, there's no separation between us. They can use anything of yours. Now, people who are getting involved in relationships, when they start, when that person starts to feel so comfortable with them, they start feeling even more happy. Ah, okay, we're settling in nicely together. That they're so comfortable in my vicinity. So in this way, Srila Rupa Goswami had complete access to the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said that Mahaprabhu's heart is like an ocean, and so many beautiful gems and pearls, oyster pearls, were there in this ocean. And Rupa Goswami, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaja explained, was given free rein, that you can dive to the depths of this ocean and collect and distribute whatever you like. And this was a source of great happiness for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like non-different from his own self. Priya Swarupe, Daita Swarupe. How near, how dear, how close. Oh, speaking of this Daita Swarupe, Srila Gurudev explained that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is known as Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. Right? This was his initiated name that he received from Srila Gaurkishora Babaji Maharaj. Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. And generally most people think that this is a name for Krishna, who is dear to Srimati Radhika. But more than that, Srila Gurudev was saying, who is dear to Srimati Radhika? Who is this Daita? This Daita Swarupe. That is Sri Rupa Manjari. And so those coming in the line of Sri Rupa Manjari, Sri Rupa Goswami, who are Rupanugas, they are this Das of Varshabhanavi Devi Daita. Means they're servants coming the line of Sri Rupa. This is the meaning of Rupa Anuga. So he said this Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Varshabhanavi Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdhe Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Nama. This is the meaning of, and he said this is the best glorification of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, to see and to glorify him in terms of his relationship with Rupa Goswami or Sri Rupa Manjari. Following in this line, Rupa Anuga. He said this is the best meaning or the best understanding to worship or serve, glorify Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada in terms of his establishing of the Manobhishta of Rupa Goswami in this world. I just wanted to share that one little bit. So, oh my God, time is getting late.
We can continue tomorrow.
We must continue tomorrow. I want to just tell a little bit more about this. So Rupa Goswami, we glorify him in Sri Shad Goswami Ashtakam, which we should have sung today, but we sang a few other bhajans. There it is said, Kuja Kokilahang Sasara Sakana Kirne Mayurakule. That he's expert, like a swan is expert in separating milk from water. Who knew that a swan could do such a thing? So here it is saying, Nirakira Hangsan. Hangsa means swan. Who's able to separate the essence, the kir, from all of the Vedic literature? Who can separate those essential truths and give them to us? He was expert like this. Without Rupa Goswami, who could have extracted this? Even all of the other Goswamis are taking Rupa Goswami's remnants and accepting the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Even Sanatan Goswami is glorifying Rupa Goswami. Sanatan Goswami is asking for the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Although Rupa always sees Sanatan as his Gurudev. So who could have written such scriptures as Rupa Goswami wrote? It's unprecedented. Even what Mahaprabhu himself did not directly give, he gave through Rupa Goswami Prabhu. So then here it says, Jabapitu Varapula Palatananavitha Manoraji Aravinda Somadhukarabinu Panakona Janata Vidyamana Koribandha. So here he's being compared to a honeybee amid varieties of blossoming forest flowers. But honeybee is expert in detecting and tasting rasa. If I were to go to any flower, I could take that pollen, but could I convert it to honey? No, but a honeybee has that qualification. Honeybee can detect different kinds of rasas and understands each one individually and can take the essence of that and convert it to honey and distribute that to the world. So Rupa Goswami was like this, expert in extracting from all different sources and all different scriptures, all kinds of ras, all kinds of honey, and presenting it in such a beautiful way to this world. Go Janata Mathura Vrindavan. This translation is different than before. Who would have known the difference between the prem of those in Mathura and the prem of those in Vrindavan? We would not have this understanding without the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, that there is a difference between Mathura and Vrindavan. Gurudev said that Mathura Vasis can never come here and real Brajavasis never go there. Srimati Radhika never went to Mathura, because she also never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. Maybe some other manifestations of hers will go outside. But Vrishabhanu Nandini, Srimati Radhika, never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan, the same as Brajendra Nandan Krishna, Vrindavanam Parityajya Padamekam Nagachati. In other forms, as Samyogini Radhika, Viyogini Radhika, she may go to Kurukshetra or any other place. But as Vrishabhanu Nandini, she never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. So who could have understood the difference, the speciality of the love of the Brajavasis? And here I remember Gurudev speaking about this next line. Go Janata Brajanita. We were at Ashisheshwar Mahadev, not too far from Terkadamba. In Terkadamba, there Rupa Goswami was doing his bhajan. It means he was remembering the transcendental pastimes of
Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day and also writing so many beautiful transcendental literatures. So he was staying in that place, which I told yesterday or the day before, was the halfway place between Yavat, where Srimati Radhika would reside, where her in-laws' home is, and Nandagaon, where she would go and cook for Krishna. So she would go through this place, Terkadamba. And in that place, so many beautiful pastimes took place between Radha and Krishna. So Rupa Goswami remained in that place for quite some time. In fact, that sweet rice Leela, where Srimati Radhika herself gave to Rupa and Sanatan, took place there in Terkadamba. It is said that when Rupa Goswami was experiencing moods of separation from Radha and Krishna, that separation was so intense that all of the leaves on the trees in that vicinity would dry up and fall off. And then when he was experiencing moods of Radha and Krishna's meeting, it would be such a cause of transcendental elation that those leaves would again appear and beautiful flowers would blossom by the potency of his experiencing these transcendental bhavs. So we were at Ashisheshwar Mahadev, which is the Mahadev that Nanda Baba and all of his ancestors would worship down at the foothill of Nandagaon. And at that place, Srila Gurudev asked us this question: what is the meaning of this Vrajanita? Go Janata Vrajanita. Who would have known about Vrajanita? And we were all a little bit perplexed. And he said, Nita means Riti, and I can't even pronounce it right. I remember how he was pronouncing it, Riti. It means the moods, the way that the Brajabasis do things, the moods in their heart of loving service to Krishna. Who could have known this without Rupa Goswami? Who could have fathomed the intricacies of Braj? This is the depths of their moods of loving affection. And Rupa Goswami didn't only explain Gopi Bhav, Madhurya Bhav, he also explained Vatsalya Bhav, Sakya Bhav, all of the different moods. He explained everything. And who could have understood the rati between Sri Radha and Madhava? Ko janata Radha Madhava rati. Ko janata soy prita. Who could have known or understood about that love and affection without Rupa Goswami? Srila Gurudev explained, and this was quite interesting when he said this. You know that Munindra Vrindavandite, Triloka Shoka Harini, Prasanna Bhaktra Pankajeni Kunja Bhu Vilasini, Brajendra Bhanu Nandini, Brajendra Sunu Sangate, Kadakarishyasi Hamam Kripakataksha Bhajanam, Shri Radha Kripakataksha Stavaraja. He said, there it is said, it is spoken from the mouth of Lord Shiva to Uma, and it is found in Urdhvam Naya Tantra. But Gurudev said, he said, Lord Shiva could not have made this on his own. It must be that he heard it as Harikatha, maybe from the mouth of Sri Rupa, as Sri Rupa is witnessing this. The beauty of Srimati Radhika, as she is defeating Nandanandana on the amorous battlefield. Rupa is witnessing and describing this, and Shiva, maybe in the form of Gopishwar Mahadev, has heard this as Harikatha from Sri Rupa. And now Lord Shiva is repeating that Harikatha to Uma, and we have received it in the form of Sri Radha Kripakataksha Stavaraja. I thought that was quite amazing what Gurudev was saying. So Ko Janata Soy, who would have known about their love and affection without Rupa Goswami? And by his great endeavor, through the medium also of those who are following in his mood, in his line, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, they presented all of the tattvas, all of the essences that Rupa Goswami had given, and they presented that. And by that, we are able to worship Radha and Krishna together. Jai Jai Radha Krishna Jugala Milan. Jakara Charana Prasade Sakalajan Gai Gavai Sukha Pavata Charana Kamale Sharanagata Madho Tava Mahima Uralagata. By the mercy of his lotus feet, all souls may sing and inspire others to sing about the glories of Radha Madhava. So, now it's late, it's 7:46, and I haven't even started with Upadeshamrita. So, tomorrow we have some time more to speak about Srila Rupa Goswami. But we should understand that Rupa Goswami
is the goal of everything that we are aspiring for. Not even directly the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Se Mor Sampada, Se Mor Bhajana Pujan. The goal and the aspiration of everything that we are doing on this path of bhakti is to become a recipient of a particle of dust of the mercy of the lotus feet of Shri Rupa Manjari. Narottam Das Thakur has given this prayer. And if you see it very clearly, this is really the essence of what we are going for, what we are aspiring for, praying for this mercy. Without the mercy of Rupa, we cannot have entrance into Vrindavan. We cannot have entrance into the service of Radha and Madhava. We cannot have a proper understanding of who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is and what Mahaprabhu came to give. So therefore, this line is known as Rupanuga. We're completely indebted. Who would have known about any of this without Rupa Goswami? So we are hopelessly indebted. So Gurudev would always give a beautiful prayer for Srila Rupa Goswami that, O Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Oh my God, there's so much more to tell. Tomorrow we will sing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Ha Devi Kaku Gadgadaya Devacha, something about Upadeshamrita, Shri Shad Goswami Ashtakam, and
what's the poem that he did? The one about don't go to Keshigat?
Bandhu Sange Jaditavaranga Parihas.
That's not him, that's...
No, but he composed Sneram Bhangi Traya Parichitam Shachivishtim Drishtim. So Rupa Goswami has given us everything. So we pray in the dust of his lotus feet that as he's also praying to Srimati Radhika, that although I have no qualification, I'm completely fallen, I'm stupid, I'm useless, I have nothing, but still, please don't neglect me. Don't overlook me. Please accept me and put me in your register, that one day you will accept me as the maidservant of your maidservants. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Oh Rupa Goswami Prabhu, please manifest what you gave to this world. Please manifest even one drop of that in my heart. Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Rupanaka Guru Bharga Ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Pada Ki Jai, Tatiya Tirobhav Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai, Shri Gauridas Pandit Ki Jai, Shri Tatiya Tirobhav Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Das Ki Jai, Tatiya Tirobhav Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Please forgive me for speaking too fast. I start getting more excited when I realize I don't have enough time. So we're just going to do a quick kirtan here, and then darshan of Thakurji, and then we'll let you get back to continuing to glorify Rupa Goswami through all of the other mediums. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rupan Guruvar ki jai, Shmutyanand Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachidananda Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Bihari ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakti ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, So thank you very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and to remember and endeavor to glorify that person who's way beyond our capacity to glorify, but still for our own benefit, giving us this opportunity to endeavor to glorify Srila Goswamipada. So we look forward to being with all of you tomorrow for part 2. And Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radha Bihari Ju ki
Jai, Radhe Radhe.